after messing with the exposure, because it kind of looked like we were in the Arctic for a second. Good morning.
So how was Terminator?
Huh?
How was Terminator?
It was no Arctic dogs, and no one had spider legs in the Terminator movie. It didn't have Arnold facing off against an evil walrus who was kind of half walrus, half Kenneth Branagh from Wild Wild West. This was our morning. We went to go see this early. We walk in, we're like, that's right. We're the two seeing Arctic dogs. Only ones in the theater.
Don't judge me! I should have seen Terminator. Put that on the DVD box as my critic's blurb. I should have seen Terminator. Arctic dogs.
Well, this movie, I guess, kind of works for the family that's... That one family where it's like...
Where grandma has to take the kids to see the movie?
Well, that too, because that happened at Norm of the North. But if there's that one family where it's like, we're not really a Zootopia family, we're more of a Rock Dog family. That's what this is for. Although between this and Great Alaskan Race being in the theaters at the same time, it's the first time I've seen the animated movie and the live-action remake together out simultaneously.
I was wondering why this came out now, pretty much
it's
Halloween.
Christmas, man. But it's November 1st.
Yeah, but considering we've got snow on the ground everywhere around here, I guess maybe they were prophets.
I guess it can't be that cold. I'm taking my jacket off. It is kind of bright in here, but we got to park directly where the sun can be our lighting. Otherwise, it's 15 minutes of me in our car messing with the overhead light. Was it exactly what you wanted it to be?
No. No. I wanted it to be way more hilariously bad.
You didn't think it was hilarious where Jeremy Renner, the Arctic Fox, was hitting on Jade, the girl fox, and she said, well, you really messed that up, and he goes, nobody's perfect.
I think that was the moment when I literally grabbed you by the hand and said, hold my hand, boss. Hold my hand.
I think it was when they were in the cage and he looks at James Franco Bird and goes,
your fly is open.
No, he says,
no, you have to
fly. And he goes, oops, sorry, zip. No, not that fly. I think it was around then when you were every day we stray further from God.
That is what I said. I honestly, and I say this I do say it ironically because that's why I like it more. I honestly probably... Because I had to watch Norm of the North, because we had to review it, I found that easier to sit through than this. Because that was so bad, it was you couldn't take your eyes off it. During the climax of this film, I nearly fell asleep.
Yeah.
And I'm this is the action-packed, this is where... I'm that's my problem with this movie, is it's not only just not funny and really cheaply animated, it's boring as fuck.
It's bad when we're still bored and we're the only ones there, because we could talk during it, and we did.
Oh yeah, and
we did talk.
There were moments of long silence between us, though,
because
you could just feel it wearing down on us, where we're just because there's only so many times we can be not funny.
Well, and also, I was staring there trying to figure out what the villain's motivation was before it eventually gets to his motivation. I'll get to that in a second. But, so...
what motivation? We were trying to figure that out the whole movie, and they kind of dump it at the end, and I'm that's it?
Right. Okay, he's a disgruntled employee. And so I didn't even know this movie was really going to have a villain in it until he showed up, because it starts out, and it's just in the Arctic, and they're snow dogs, and there's a delivery service.
Jeremy Renner, and I want to be a snow dog.
Oh, that's where all the money in this movie goes. It's cheaply animated.
Why did you need Angelica Houston playing a
Yeah.
What the fuck was she? A reindeer, moose,
a caribou?
Caribou. Yeah. She mentions what she is. I'm like, is that what she is? Or the puffins were even funnier. I thought they were like Toucan Sam. And like, they're puffins.
Oh, they're
and
puffins.
Like, I did not get that from the animation. I was like, why are there a bunch of Amazonian jungle birds?
The cast in this movie: Angelica Houston, Jeremy Renner, Alec Baldwin, and James Franco. I go, okay, well, there's where most of the budget went.
All wasted. Yeah. John Cleese, who I swear died in the middle of like doing his voice. He's literally
the villain.
Yeah, and he literally sounds like he's at death's door, and I'm like,
yeah.
Did he just pass on in the middle of this? Mm-hmm. But he's John Cleese, so he just kept going. Like, I'm a walrus.
His dead body's like making noises. We could put this in the movie.
You can barely make out like what he's saying half the time. I don't know if it's just his age or if he's just like, it's Arctic dogs. I don't give a shit. I don't have to care about Arctic dogs.
Just stick with Wind River if you want the way better Jeremy Renner snow movie. It's a much better film than this. I was sitting there going...
Jeremy Renner needs to fire his agent after this. That's all I gotta say.
Between this and The House.
Yeah.
I was sitting in this movie going like, maybe... At first I was thinking maybe I was too hard on Great Alaskan Race last week, but then I was like, no, maybe this is a little better. I'll talk to you later, Mom. I got Arctic dogs to talk about.
I didn't see that one, but it
was cheaper than this, if you can imagine that.
I don't even know what the hell to say about this movie. Like,
well, it's when it starts out where it's Jeremy Renner Fox who dreams of being Top Dog, the big
and he blends in with the snow, which I thought, there's a brilliant way to save on your animation. Just make him entirely white and make the snow white, and then it's a couple of freaking eyeballs looking at you for a quarter of the movie.
So he works at the world's worst mail delivery service, because later on in the movie it has to close to flooding, and I'm like, why is it closing now? You've already had 20 explosions in this thing.
I like that it's flooding too when they're at the top of a hill.
Yeah.
Do you notice that?
Yeah.
There's so many things that make no sense, like
technology.
Somewhere in the middle of this I just turned to you and I'm like, so why do they need snow dogs anyway to deliver the mail when they clearly have telephones and other sorts of technology? Why doesn't this Fox, this girl who has 20 PhDs and is an engineering genius, just build a device to deliver the mail?
Yeah.
Almost instantly, she's one of those, like, classic characters you see in bad movies, like, hi, I'm the girl female sidekick character and I'm a super genius, and I'm just like instantly, why wasn't this movie just about her? Because
it couldn't be exactly like Force Awakens.
she's like frickin' Gadget from Rescue Rangers crossed with fucking MacGyver.
She is kind of building the Millennium Falcon throughout the movie.
She's building the Millennium Falcon throughout the movie, and I'm like, why isn't this movie just about her? Because like in a movie like that can work if your main character is at least like interesting. Jeremy Renner's character is awful. He's an awful.
His character is used. I love Jeremy Renner, but I mean this character
so wasted, and he's a piece of shit.
The character really does nothing until the end of the movie. He just kind of happens upon things throughout it, and
Not only does he do nothing, but he's like horribly egotistical, obsessed with fame, and I'm like, I get that they want like this character arc where it's like, well, this is the lesson I'm going to learn. Is that fame?
Does he really learn a lesson?
I don't think he does.
Like, plus this delivery service is stupid anyway, because when the top dogs go missing, Jeremy Renner's then put in charge of everything. When there's a giant bear right there,
they got Norm of the North, right there, and I'm like, why isn't the bear bear who works out with the fox is like, yeah, we got this, bro. Let's do this. And I'm like, so the bear is not going to deliver like this makes this whole universe. There was like no thought put into it, like zero.
The only like there was one legit minor laugh I got out of it, which was when Jeremy Renner sneaks into the lair and the evil walrus is talking to that group of puffins. Jeremy Renner accidentally knocks over that whole row of like bookshelves, and it's right next to this one puffin who gets like, blamed for it. Like the puffins are like kind of like sort of. Not even the minions; they're the lemmings of Norm of the North. Like, but they're they don't go quite that far with it, but you could see where they kind of
Minions would have taken effort.
Yeah.
And actual comedic timing, because the Minions are at least funny. And these puffins weren't funny at all.
Except for that one part where the one was like, no, and then it seems like John Cleese kills it.
He's just like, goodbye!
Yeah.
And like, pushes a button, and it falls in. I really wanted to hear, like, a buzzsaw, and then have, like, an Evil Dead, Army of Darkness geyser of blood, just...
Next performer. And or even like when they were sucking up the puffins in the snowmobile at the end, and it was shooting them out the top. I'm like, you could easily just animate some blood in there, like spraying outside the top.
They're firing snowballs, and I'm like, this is effective how?
Because the movie then came with its own app game.
Yeah, there was like one part of the movie, I'm like, well, this would be great for the movie tie-in game that'll never happen.
Yeah, it becomes a POV shot of the caribou like shooting snowball guns at the puffins. And
my favorite is, I remember looking at you and I'm just like, did John Peters have something to do with this movie? Because there's a total giant spider in it.
Maximilian Walrus.
It's like the frickin' walrus walks on spider legs, and I'm like, I would have killed if he had Kenneth Branagh's accent from Wild Wild West. Well, I do declare, what have we here? An Arctic fox.
Jeremy
All
Renner,
these like inappropriate racial jokes suddenly get thrown in about the fox's whiteness.
Jeremy Renner happens he's delivering a package to the Walrus's evil lair, which is this big metal door with the puffin peeking out, and so we started quoting Return of the Jedi as this was going on. Atu, don't leave me.
Yeah, when the fox is talking, we're like, Ito, Teto, Jabba the Hutt.
Walrus comes out and Puffin like, hey, Jabba, no bother.
And then it's like, but that's what I don't get. Apparently, like, the walrus just says, like, they're becoming more of a nuisance, have to do something about them. So then the puffins decide to abduct the Arctic dogs and all this. And I'm like...
I was like, why are they... Because he delivered a package that you ordered,
that you ordered and wanted? Like, it...
I don't understand.
It made no sense. His whole, like, it rests... I shit you not, I can't make this up. It rests on him tapping into this natural gas reserve that had some fancy scientific name, according to the French resistance otters that are in the Arctic for some reason. They're like, it was stands for something this, or otherwise known as BAD gas, bad gas, and like they just keep saying bad gas, and I'm like, this is what the movie's resting on. This is his big plot
because. Shockingly, believe it or not, it's a message movie.
Yeah, they shoehorn this global warming shit in, and it's... I'm like, this is the laziest, most probably batshit attempt I've ever seen to shoehorn a global warming. It's like, because of too much bad gas is released in the air, it causes global warming!
They literally go, it's gonna cause global warming. And then, so... when it says why the walrus is doing what he's doing, it's because he used to work for this mail carrier service, building gadgets that all worked well and made things relatively more efficient.
It required using bad gas.
Yeah, so the one that he got fired over, which was going to have to drill into the earth to release the bad gas that would cause the polar ice caps.
Right, bad gas!
Bad gas! To melt the polar ice caps, and now he deliberately wants to do that as revenge to flood the Arctic to destroy the Arctic dogs and their mail carrier service. So I'm like...
But then I'm just like, but you're creating global warming, which you're a walrus, you're going to have to rely on Earth's temperatures or something. So what was your plot then? Then everyone will flood to me to beg me for help. And I'm just like, this is the most nonsense. I can't even, The
gall on this movie to be... I haven't seen such a batshit attempt to be like a climate change movie since Birdemic. Really movie. Like Arctic Dogs is trying to be provocative. Slow down your mush, Arctic Dogs.
And he's just such a horrible character.
Yeah.
So he discovers... First off, he keeps trying to impress the hot fox.
Yeah.
The foxy chick, literally. Does a terrible job at it because he just makes it look like he's full of himself. And she sees right through it. And so he finally discovers that there's this, plot going on where it's like, the walrus is evil. He's working with puffins, and he's a giant spider or something, because John Peters may have produced this.
Yeah.
So he's like, I gotta go back and warn the others. Well, he goes back, and they're like, hey, congratulations, you made your deliveries. He's like, great. He's like, honey, I gotta talk to you. Like, I gotta, like, this is important. She's like, okay, what? And then when they're like, congratulations, all of a sudden he's like, oh, hold on.
Yeah.
My adoring fans. And then he starts partying. And then just she leaves. And I'm like, this is a character who is so awful that when the world is at stake, he's like, I got a party. Like,
and seems to get drunk.
Her. Like,
he wakes up hungover the next morning.
I so wanted a penis drawn on his face.
Yeah.
They were like doing that joke. They drew things on his face. I'm like, I would have killed it. Just see the dick right there.
This is the kind of movie where like you'll usually see, maybe not like a penis necessarily, but something
inappropriate that they'll sneak in because the animators are just so dead inside.
Yeah, because no one's gonna go see it. We were the only ones in there. It's so you'll like just randomly see characters like die in some of these movies. Like when Jared and I went to go see that My Little Pony movie that just had characters on fire at the end of it.
I would have preferred that. I'll see
this
that
film,
movie.
I was honestly expecting like the evil walrus to like die in an explosion. He doesn't. He just gets put in a box and shipped off to prison. Literally, the box says
jail.
To
jail.
Spoiler.
Yeah, spoiler. You can't. But no, oh God. Yeah, and he's just so unlikable.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, even at the end when she's like, and I moved back for you, I'm like, bitch, you've got like 20 PhD degrees, are a genius engineer, and you went back to the Arctic for this fucker? Girl, you can do better. Well, I mean, holy shit. And I'm like, this is, I remember turning to you, I'm like, this is the most mismatched animated couple I've ever seen in anime where you're just like, wow, these two don't belong together.
No,
he's terrible, and I remember shouting, she's out of your league, bro. Stop. You're embarrassing us and you.
Yeah, I mean, at least when they like we said, like when they start making out in the movie, it's like, well, it is going to inspire fetish porn for somebody out there.
And it did have that furry quality to it.
Oh, when he sneaks into the town at the end in his tighty whities, and then he gets blown up and is laying there. The fox is laying there, spread eagle, mangy fur, tighty whities.
I remember saying, "Well, somebody's gonna be happy looking at this."
Can't wait to see that on One Less Than Perfect Shot on Twitter. God. No, man. Like,
no, my favorite was that whole bit where he's like, I'm blind, I can't see it. He's like, oh, it's fine. Would you have imagined, spoiler alert, would you have imagined that that's the finale? Looking at the trailer, I just assumed that was some stupid joke tucked in the middle of the movie, and instead that's the end of the finale right there. That's it. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, I didn't know what... The only thing that surprised me about the climax was that it didn't end with, like, a big dance party. Because usually movies like this
I was waiting for it.
Like, I was waiting for it to have, like, a dance-off or a dance party or a musical number at the end. And it didn't. But I was laughing at the credits for the film because, like... Talk about cheap. Like the font that they have, I'm like, I know what that is. I got that.
You can get it on Adobe Premiere.
I've got it on Pinnacle 12. I know exactly what that is that they're using for this movie. I expect better out of the production company that made Hurricane Heist.
Hey, now listen. They did at least have a nut shot, followed immediately by a wedgie.
Within like 10 seconds.
I'm like, wow, a nut shot, really? I guess, well, we've reached bottom of the barrel. It's like, ooh, a wedgie right afterwards. I'm like, wow, that's a twofer.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's amazing. I wasn't expecting that.
It is this year's, I mean, even though it's not as enjoyably bad as something like Norm of the North, it is that bad animated kids movie.
This is so bad that I think Norm of the North is better by virtue of being bad. Like Norm of the North is like the Manos Hands of Fate of bad animated movies, or the Food Fight, or You get those or The Room. Like you get those movies that are so amazingly bad. It's like, no, you have to see this. This is one I'm telling you right now. Don't even bother.
No, don't. Because I mean,
it's not even bad enough to be. It is so boring.
You're gonna get more laughs out of, as far as a bad movie goes, you'll get more laughs laughs out of Great Alaskan Race that's playing right now. So really, yeah, this movie did make me miss Great Alaskan Race.
This is like a black hole that sucks the life out of you. It was Max Shreck's power plant from Gotham City. It's actually sucking more power out of the city. It's like giving power, and somebody throws Michelle Pfeiffer out a window.
Well, he's using the puffins as the penguins at like
That's
the
right.
end of, he might as well have rockets strapped to. My babies.
Some of you may not be coming back.
Like we're expecting John Cleese Walrus. Bring me the firstborn, and every time.
Now it's time to punish all of Gotham.
Yeah, no, I can't even recommend this as a curiosity. No. I mean, if you must, just wait for it to hit video. Because again, like I said, we were the only ones there, so we could talk during it, and we did, but that didn't make it worth it, like, as a bad movie.
We couldn't even get, like really great. We had a couple. They're probably too inappropriate to say here, but I mean, because like the movie was just like so cheap that we're just like, okay, let's take this down dark directions to make fun of it. But but even then, it wasn't even like worth it.
No, we were tired too. We went to go see it in the morning.
I'll tell you, because like I love animation. I think animation's like the highest. I love Disney. I love all animation. I love Disney. I love Pixar. I love anime. Mm-hmm. I freaking love Ralph Bakshi and all of his like wildly inappropriate movies. Big titties flying around, all these adult jokes, and like. But this is like one of those films that makes me like reconsider the art form. Where I'm like, where did we go wrong? I'm like, because I'm looking at this, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna end up seeing all these animated films with you, and I'm just like, do I really want to do this? This is so bad.
This is your equivalent of like Scorsese and Coppola talking about Marvel movies. This is you going like, Entertainment Studios animation is not cinema.
It's despicable. This isn't art. It's trash. Which is funny because when he said that, it's just like, yeah, but Joker was totally kissing your ass, Marty. And note that he didn't bring up DC. He only talked about Marvel. I'm like, because guess what movie just kissed your backside?
And I did love Joker.
Joker's an amazing movie.
Oh, yeah.
And compared to this, it may as well be literally the greatest movie ever made.
Yeah.
Because that's like an A-, B+ film to me. This is a solid like F, and I mean F-. Like this is like getting close to 0.
This isn't an F for me. Like for
it's an F for me.
It's a D-.
It's so boring. I can't even.
It's a D-. I'm only giving it that simply because like this isn't going to be on my bottom 10.
Well, you've seen more movies this year, so I can't.
Should have been there at El Coyote, man. Worst.
I'll say that. Okay, out of animated films this year or kids. Oh. Well, we still got fucking Fireman or whatever.
Oh, Playing with Fire.
Playing with Fire coming out.
Yeah, that's coming up.
I'll bet you that's going to be worse than this. That looks like it's going to be worse.
Because this, this, and also here's why I would give it a D- over an F, because like this, I was sitting there kind of tired and really not into it. I can't say I was necessarily like annoyed in that trailer for Playing with Fire or sitting there watching Fuller House kind of way.
It could be worse.
And I did laugh at the bookshelf part.
It was just so dull. It was just so dull. I gotta give it.
It is dull. It's dull.
Because if it was like Norm of the North or something really crazier, at least I would have been like, okay.
That's an A+.
I'm like, you have to see this movie to believe it. D-. Like to me, like you don't need to see this movie. That's
watch the trailer. Just watch the trailer for this film.
If you saw the trailers, that maybe there's a couple things that just weren't in the trailer, like a walrus with spider legs.
Yeah.
But I mean, apart from that, yeah. I mean, we've also got that damn Will Smith pigeon movie coming out.
Spies in Disguise.
When did Will Smith become Rob Schneider, by the way? Where now it's like, Will Smith is the pigeon. And he's going to find out that being a pigeon isn't all it's cracked up to be. Will Smith is the stapler. Derpity nerp derp derp. It's Will Smith. Derpity derp derp derp. Woo!
his plans for this week just ain't gonna fly. Like, spies in disguise. Yes.
Getting derpy with it.
Oh, we've also got the Playmobil movie coming out.
I mean, I have no... I saw the trailer. That looks to me more like it's just going to be a C movie.
It looks
to be fair,
like,
that probably looks like what the Pigeon movie is going to be.
It looks cheaper than that. I mean, it reminds me, like, oh right, I did have Playmobiles when I was young.
I don't know. I can't tell with trailers anymore.
Yeah.
Because trailers, like some of the ones that look like, oh, this is going to be amazing, are terrible. Some of the ones that look really terrible are actually pretty decent.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like the Lego movie, when they had the trailer for that originally, I thought it looked terrible. And I really like the Lego movie.
Paddington.
So we were talking about Paddington. Yeah, I enjoyed Paddington.
I really liked
that. I only saw it because every critic, including you, like other people I know, were just like, and every critic online like was just like, no, it's really good. And I'm like, all right, I'll see it. But I'm like, wow, that trailer like totally did that movie a disservice.
Yeah. Peter Rabbit I really liked a lot. Speaking of, I didn't know there was a sequel coming out to it.
I didn't see that movie because the trailer looked terrible, and you're telling me it's good because I'm like looking at this trailer going like, did we really need a sequel? Like,
it's got some dark humor in it. Like that rabbit does some like sadistic Bugs Bunny stuff in that movie. Like he's playing with a dead body at one point in the film.
I do like it when movies get bizarrely dark.
It does. I really enjoyed it.
Frozen 2 just looks like something that exists.
When that trailer started, I thought it was a knockoff that's coming out until the Disney logo popped up.
I'm not gonna lie, it looks kind of cheap, like it's a direct-to-DVD thing.
I mean, well, granted, after seeing Arctic Dogs, maybe there's a little more money there. But you're right, because I was thinking the same thing in that trailer. I was like, all right.
The worst trailer, though, that I've seen all year is Still Playing with Fire.
And we got that in front of this.
Catching it again and again, and each time I'm like,
see it.
That little girl, stop! I'm like, Jesus, will that dog just eat her? Eat her!
Right, and every time that happens in that trailer, go...
I'm like, Jesus Christ, I can't believe, and this is the trailer!
Yeah, that's a trailer, and like, when like, I was like, what was gonna happen if she didn't tell that dog to sit? Was that dog gonna eat them?
Hopefully.
I wish.
Instant death.
It's bad enough in the shot where she goes boom boom. It's angled to where it looks like she's cupping his balls. Like yeah, watch that part again.
The hilarious part though was that we were missing like a third of the screen.
Oh, right.
So he looked like fucking Batman.
Yeah,
because the screen was cut off. Mm-hmm. So it's just his like a little bit of his nose and chin.
So really, we just saw like 3/4 of Arctic Dogs.
Yeah, that's that's what kills me. It's because it made Arctic Dogs look fancier because it looked like, no, this is like super widescreen.
It's CinemaScope.
It's CinemaScope.
Yeah, bullshit. It's Arctic Dogs. You can't fool me with your messing up the projector.
We discussed it with each other. It's like, should we go let somebody know? And I was like, then we have to be the only two guys in theater to go up to the projectionist or somebody there and be like, excuse me, we're not getting the full Arctic Dogs experience.
I've had to do that before for not like a situation like this, but if like the movie just didn't start, part of me thinks like, they intentionally did this just to mess with me, so I would have to go out and be the guy to be like, yeah, there's a problem with Ice Age 5. No, yeah, because I had to do that. I was the only one in there for Ice Age 5, and I go out and I go, there's a problem with in Theater 10, and I was just like, okay, I'll just say Theater 10, and they go, what movie is that again? I'm like, you motherfucker. Like, so I'm like, it's Ice Age 5.
Hold on 1 second. Excuse me, we need to solve a problem in Theater 10 for Ice Age 5. We got a request from one person. What's your name, sir?
Never mind, Herb. Sorry, forget
Jones would like to see... We got a projectionist up there immediately.
I was sitting in the very back underneath the projector window, and I could hear that, like, I'm not even kidding, I could hear the manager on the other side of it go, is there really just one guy in there? Yep, right here.
You need to bring a notebook so you look like a critic. and then just...
Or I'm looking as a creep, like, I gotta take notes on this so I don't forget.
Somebody flips through it, though. It's like,
details.
yeah, somebody flips through it. It's like the Big Lebowski where they do, like, the pencil scan. It's just like a picture of a big dick dude. Like, what?
I'm here to see this movie. I'm Jackie Treehorn.
Sorry, Jackie, I still jerk off the manual way.
I gotta head in. I love that I have a couple of, like, Oscar contender movies to see after this. I gotta head in and see Harriet.
Cool. I got to see Arctic
Motherless
Dogs,
Brooklyn.
so clearly...
You got the shortest one out of all of them.
You know what? I'm gonna guarantee you, I'll make a bet with you right now that the next two movies, the Oscar bait movies, will still seem shorter.
Probably.
Because I kept checking my watch, and I'm like, there was one moment where I'm like, okay, let's time this.
Yeah.
How long do I feel this has been? So I looked at my watch, and I checked in, and I'm just like, okay, this feels like it's been 10 minutes. And I look at my watch, it was 2 minutes.
It was 30 seconds?
I'm like, oh my God, this movie will not end. I'm like, time is going backwards!
Yeah, I was avoiding my phone during this because I'm like, I know I'm going to be sad if I look down at it.
Oh, I was sad.
Yeah.
I was at first excited because we were further than I thought, and then I realized that, no, the way they work is you start the trailers at the time the movie's supposed to start, so I'm like, oh no, we're still 20 minutes behind what my watch is.
Exactly. I was going to add like that 20 because it's usually 15 or 20 minutes worth of trailers.
Because we really needed to see Playing with Fire's trailer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because I missed it at the Terminator. They didn't hit the Terminator last night. It was the first movie I got in like months that didn't have the Playing with Fire trailer in front of it.
I should have watched Terminator.
Terminator is better than this. Though one of the leads is like just as likable as...
Oh, really? That's
Shifty
impressive.
Fox in
Because
this.
this fucking Fox was a douchebag.
Well,
It's got Linda Hamilton, though. So
that's true, yeah.
So Linda Hamilton's like the hot Fox chick in this one. It's like, really, this movie should have been about her.
Yeah.
It's good. Actually, what we need is this hot Fox chick and then Arnold Schwarzenegger, like, put together in a movie. Like, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? You're my new partner.
Maybe Michael Madsen in this movie was a Terminator dog. They did throw in a Doctor Who reference at one point.
Exterminate! I'm like, yeah, because any kid's going to get that, and there's going to be no adults in the theater who understand.
Yeah, there might as well. There was a Homie the Clown reference.
That's when it hit me. I'm like, was this written by a bunch of boomers whose last experience with comedy was the early 90s? Like, was this literally written by 60-something-year-olds? And I think it was.
Or me.
I would not put a Homie the Clown reference in a...
I could see myself doing that.
Good Lord, man.
It depends on how tongue-in-cheek I'm being with the references.
You ruin it for the rest of us. Aaron's now calling anybody over the age of 30 now a freaking boomer, and you're proving him right!
I know. I was like, what's with this growing trend of younger people not knowing the difference between Gen X and boomer?
I know.
My theory is, like, you can't use Gen X as an insult because it sounds too cool of a name. Gen X, whereas boomer
But if you say boomer...
If you say boomer, I go like... Okay, this just makes you look like an idiot.
Boomers are like my dad's age.
Yeah, I'm like, this just makes you look like an idiot who doesn't know what generations are.
If you were born in the 70s, you're not a boomer.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta be going like 40s, 50s, like maybe, I still consider like late 60s, like almost like late Gen X. I don't know.
I think Gen X starts...
Like early 60s, I can still see boomer, like, but yeah, I'm like, whatever. Fucking millennials that don't know what they're talking about. That's why you're a boomer! Get straight to Twitter.
You didn't know the subtle geniuses of Arctic Dogs.
I know.
And its important message put in the terrible kids movie. Alright, well, I gotta go see Harriet and Motherless Brooklyn. Thanks for watching. See ya.
Don't see Arctic Dogs.